This video is designed to show you how to create a question bank in your Resources tab that will allow you to create tests later pulling from those questions. So from your home page, you're going to want to go to Resources and then Personal. From here, you can create a question bank under your Home Resources folder, but you may want to create a separate collection using this button just so that it's a little bit easier for you to find information later on. So I created a Curriculum Resources folder. And this is where you can create a lot of different materials, very similar to what you can create in your course. But a new option that is not available in your courses is to add a question bank. So if you select that, you can title it. I would suggest titling it something that makes it easier for you to remember what types of questions are in there later. So if it's something that you may use for any type of test in your course, you may title it by your grade and your subject. Or it may be your grade, subject, and essay questions if you wanted to create a question bank for specific type of questions, or you could title it by a specific unit. Once you have titled it, I would suggest that you also select the option for Enable Question Tracking. What that does is it allows you is that anytime you use a question from a question bank, you will be able to see that that question is being used and where it is being used. The nice feature about that is that as you are creating tests later, you obviously don't want to use the same questions over and over and have your students see the same questions over and over. Because if you, no matter how great a question is, even if you are asking people to evaluate and do some higher order thinking, if they're just simply answering questions they have answered before, really all you've done is ask them to use their recall. So Enable Question Tracking will allow you to obviously track the questions as you use them. So once you have a title, select Enable Question Tracking, then click Create. Now I'm going to back out of this because I already have a question bank called 7th ELA. So when I click on this, you can see I've got a couple of different questions in here that I've already added. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new question. This one's going to be multiple choice. You can see you have a lot of different options here for your questions. Once I have that come up, I'm going to type in my question. Now, this one is going to use a specific text for the question. So I'm going to put a reminder in the question, both for the students and for myself, that a specific text needs to be used. So I'm going to say, refer to This World by Mary Oliver to answer the following question. Then I'm going to put in my question. All right, now that I have my question, I'm going to give my choices. So I'm going to add those in. All right, now that I have created the questions to help me also out later with grading, I'm going to select which question or which choice is the correct answer. And in this case, it is B. From here, you can add more choices. You can also remove blanks if it gave you more choices than you need to have. You have the option to randomize choices or as well as allow partial credit. But one of the most important features in your question bank is this little options circle, which allows you to align learning objectives. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go to State Standards, follow it through South Carolina, College and Career Ready. You can follow the same structure for whatever standards you have. So I'm going to follow through for South Carolina's ELA standards for 7th grade. From there, I am going to select my standard all the way down to my indicator. And it actually does allow you to select multiple indicators. So if you do have a question that relates to multiple indicators, then you will have the option to select as many indicators as you need. So here I am. I'm going to do meaning and context. I'm going to do, language, craft, and structure, 9 and 9-1. All right, so I've selected a learning objective. I'm going to add it, and now it's tied to that question. And I can select Create Question to pull it back into the bank. The nice thing about that is that when you're creating a question, a test later, and you want to add a question, now that you've tied your questions to learning objectives, to specific indicators, you can search by indicator. So as we build our question banks, you will be able to have more and more questions to pull from. So as you're creating tests and quizzes later, you can realize, all right, I need to assess this particular indicator, and then find questions that you've already added into your question bank that meet that indicator. So that's how you create your question bank. You can add as many questions as you like into the bank. You can always, of course, go back in and edit it or move it to a different question bank. But this will, the more you can add questions into question banks, the more resources you'll have available to you later on.